It's showtime.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of their people.
You know, the right to bear arms is because that's the last form of defense against tyranny.
Washington is fundamentally corrupt. There are more words in the IRS code than there are in the Bible.
Made in America, heard round the world. You're listening to Blunt Force Truth. I'm Chuck Woolery, along with my co-host Mark Young, and it's 2019.
It is indeed, and we're kicking off our first interview for 2019, Chuck, with none other than Kris Paronto, otherwise known as Tonto.
I know, I'm excited.
Yeah. And as I told you, my father wanted to name me Kemosabe.
You just told me that off here. What? I mean, I know his dad. Okay, I knew his dad real well. He did not have that sense of humor that I'm aware of.
So, Kris, it is great to have you on the show. We've got so many questions we want to talk to you about, and we want to hear about some of the projects you've got going on. You've got a movie coming out at the SHOT Show, so we're going to want to hear about that. But to start with, I'm sure our audience knows who you are, but
bring him up to
set the stage for us.
Well, again, Tonto is my call sign, Kris Paronto. People might know me if they've seen the movie 13 Hours. That's where most people have read the book 13 Hours What Really Happened in Benghazi.
Great movie. Great movie.
Yeah, and Michael Bay did a great job. They kept it they did a very good job keeping the accuracy to the movie, because we knew it was going to get lambasted by the left regardless of what it was. So we kept it as accurate as we could. We could have put more in it of what happened to us on the government side, but it was, you know what, let's just keep what we got right now and just show people what took place there, and that we were essentially left behind by our own government, which is sickening.
Sure.
But before that, I was a Ranger. I was with the 2nd Battalion, 75th Ranger Regiment, and then I was with 5th Battalion, 19th Special Forces Group, and then I was a contractor for 10 years. They don't realize either that before Benghazi, I know they think, well, Benghazi was his thing. I'd been deploying for close to 10 years prior to Benghazi, and then I went to Yemen after Benghazi as well. Worked in Sana'a, Yemen, until State Department screwed that place up too. In 2013, 2014, and so got a lot of experience. Played college football, got a lot from that, and then of course went to school for a while. But I got my master's degree, and well, here I am doing the public figure thing still, trying to help out people down the line, and trying to show them about perseverance and never quitting, never giving up, because it's tough. Life's tough. You got to keep fighting your way through it.
You know, it's really funny, Kris, because most people, I mean, like you especially, they call you heroes and everything else, and you don't really.
No.
Most guys who are heroes don't like to accept that title as hero, even though we think you are, and other people think you are. So let us have our way.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Out of respect, I will. Yes, sir. Yes,
but I'm going to add hero and badass at the same time, Chuck.
Right. I don't know. My 3-year-old still controls the house. He's pretty much the badass. I got nothing on my 3-year-old. So, but thank you. No, and you're right. I don't accept. I don't like to be called that. I don't think I am. I did my job, and I'm still doing. But thank you, though. I appreciate it.
Buddy Murphy was the same way. He was a hero. There's no question about it. But he didn't like it either. No hero likes to be called a hero, because it's. I'm going to tell you psychologically why I think that is. Most heroes feel like they're just doing their job. It's what they were hired to do. Sure. It's what they want to do. It's what their destiny is. They signed on. It's no big deal. And most heroes. Most heroes, I think, are very humble men usually. Which is part of being a hero, is being humble, I believe.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I was actually finished.
Oh, see, the timing's perfect. Look at that. I am humble at times, but I do have some arrogance to me too. I do have some confidence in me. I think there's a fine line that you cross. And if people have seen the movie, Pablo Schreiber played my character to a T. I have that sense where, yes, I know what I'm doing. I'm confident in my actions. I'm confident in what I've been trained with. I'm confident in what I've been taught from superiors like General Stanley McChrystal, who was my 1st Battalion commander. I like to say that because I think he to me exemplifies leadership. I've learned from some of the best people out there. So yes, I do have some arrogance when it needs to be every once in a while, when I call people's BS. And I do that quite often because you need to do that. You can't let people BS.
That's more confidence, I think, than arrogance. I mean, when you guys all looked at each other and said, look, you know what? Nobody's going to come to help us, so we're going to go. Yeah. I mean, that's a command decision that you didn't really have the authority to make, but you did it anyway because nobody else was there to make it.
Well, that's the right thing to do. God put us there for a reason. You do the right thing. That's integrity. Do the right thing when no one else is looking. Do the right thing, and God will take care of you. Now, I was lucky to be with a bunch of other guys there that they were heroes. They are heroes, and Rowan and Bub were heroes, which gave me more confidence as well. When you're around guys that and not alpha males. I think alpha males. And the term alpha male is used too liberally now. I really do. Right. I think it honestly is a contradiction in terms. But I was with guys that had so much confidence, and just like when insecurity breeds insecurity or fear breeds fear, confidence also breeds confidence. So I was with those guys. They were chomping at the bit to go. So I'm like, well, heck, I'm with a bunch of pipe hitters. I'm going too. And it just made me even more confident in myself.
You know, it's very funny. I've known guys like you, and I'm going to say something that my partner doesn't know that I feel this way, but I'm going to say Mark Young has that same kind of attitude. He runs toward the battle. Mm-hmm. I've always said if I was going to be in a foxhole, I'd like to have Mark Young at my back because he's a badass too. And not just for the sake of being a badass, it's just that he will do the right thing and he'll back you up. And there are just not a lot of people you can depend on like that today.
No, there isn't. I've seen it even within my own community, even within the operational community. These kids nowadays, it's all me. It is. It really is. It's me. Look at me. Look what can be done for me when they're really claiming brotherhood. And it isn't. The brotherhood, it's fallen apart because of this me generation. And I'm hoping it comes back, and I'm hoping that we still get people out there, even us old farts like myself, get out there, maybe teach a little bit, which I'm doing right now, and show that it isn't about just me succeeding. It's about everyone succeeding, and it's about me giving of myself, even if that means I have to give, and I may have to sacrifice something for myself so everybody else succeeds. I'm going to do that. And we're losing a little bit of that, but I know you guys see that. I mean, I know you guys see that on a daily basis, and that's why you have a radio show to talk about stuff.
I always say to my boys who are now 28, 22, if you're still at home living with your mom and she's making your bed, you need to check your oil. Something's wrong there.
And you said that nicely. I can't say what I would want to say on the radio, but you put that eloquently. I completely agree with you. Completely agree with you.
Kris, that the night in Benghazi, what is it that the public doesn't know about that night?
There's a lot out there. I think people choose not to know certain things. They choose to not to know that there were plenty of QRF elements, quick reaction force elements out there from the Marine fast companies in Sigonella to F-15s and F-16s in Aviano Air Base, to there being two in what we call Suda Bay, Greece, which would have been 10 minutes to us. Sigonella is not that far either. You had 10 Special Forces Group, the Commander's Extremis Force that were moving towards us. All of them were told to stop. All of them were told by these states.
Looking back on it in retrospect, because you've been through it, now you can kind of analyze it. Yeah. Why do you think that was? Why did they not come to support you?
It was completely and purely political. We weren't supposed to be. We shouldn't have been there. We were facility, and without getting too much in, because I can't talk about it. Unlike some politicians, particularly Hillary Clinton, if I divulge non-disclosure secrets, I do go to prison. She doesn't, so there's a difference there. So I have to be careful. I don't have that top cover from the deep state. Yeah, but we weren't supposed to be there. We were facilitating. Gaddafi arms, they were going somewhere. They weren't staying in Libya. And there's a country called Syria that was right next to it. And we were supporting some of the wrong people. Mm-hmm. And also Al-Qaeda was on the run. They weren't. They were alive and well. They were part of the attack that night. That was part of Barack Obama's big platform. Al-Qaeda is on the run. Terrorism is on the run. No, it was completely live and well in Benghazi, Tripoli, and even worse in Derna, which is just down the road from us. We couldn't even get into Derna because they would spot us immediately when we were trying to get in the city, because it was run by it was run by Ansar Sharia, which are remnants of now what we call ISIS. Mm-hmm. So we made ISIS there, guys. It was a pure political decision because of weapons, because Al-Qaeda was on the run. I wish I could tell you what arms, if we had American arms going in there or not. I can't, but there's people out there that are still digging, and they may be able to. And also, we had Americans that were an ambassador of that level, Ambassador Chris Stevens. He wasn't no dilettante. He wasn't some appointee. He had worked his way up. That guy's a 3-star general if you want to get in the rank of ambassadorship, put him in that sort of context. When that kind of guy dies and they find out that he had no security, complete uproar, a complete uproar. So it's easy to try to, it's easy for them to make the decision. Let's try to downplay this, so we don't come across as leaving someone of that stature to die. Leaving us to die, hey, we're just contractors. They can get away with that. Hey, you know what? I accept that. That's all. Do you
think that somewhere, not that you would know for sure, but do you think there was a decision made to let you die?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't think, I know. Deep down in my heart, I know there was that decision to let us just die there and leave us to our own, and just hopefully it would just go away. You're right. I wish.
What saved
Go ahead.
you?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, you went through this whole battle that we all saw in the movie and everything else, and you said it was pretty close to the truth. So what in the end really saved you guys?
Faith. Faith increases your luck. Faith. You have faith in yourself. You have faith in something bigger than yourself. I'm a Christian, terrible Christian, but I am. I lose faith every once in a while myself. But you have faith that there is something bigger.
Yeah. Those are the good Christians. The real Christians are the terrible Christians.
Right. That's true. We know we are fallible. I am extremely fallible. But you have faith, and you just have faith that you're going to get through it. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to live through it. There's a difference there. But you have faith that you're going to get through it.
What happened at the very end when you went, okay, I think we're safe now? What was the determining factor when you looked at each other and said, we got a few casualties here and everything else, but I think we made it? What happened?
I didn't think that till I was actually on a plane to Germany. I didn't know if we were out of it at all. I mean, you do have some letdown moments. You're going through a lot. I ate a couple Snickers bars. I'd been jumping walls with a machine gun and all this ammo. I'm tired. So you have some down moments. You're like, okay, I can sit down and relax and get some water and stuff before you have to get amped up again, because you have what we call adrenaline dumps. But really, I didn't think we were out of it till even when we were on that plane, the Libyan transport. There was no U.S. aircraft that came to get us in Benghazi. None. Even when we were on that Libyan transport to go to fly to Tripoli, we got lucky there too. It just showed up. I know State Department likes to say they got it there for us. Bub, actually from Tripoli, when he came in, Glenn Doherty, who passed away that evening, when his team came in from Tripoli, they rented and they actually went to and got an oil executive jet and flew it in. It was too small to hold all of us. We got all of our non-shooters out of there the next morning, and our casualties that were still alive. The rest of us waited another 3 hours, and a Libyan transport showed up, and we talked them into flying us out of there back to Tripoli. But even when I got to Tripoli, I didn't feel, it was okay. I'm a little bit safe. I'm back at an annex here in Tripoli, but I really didn't feel like, okay, this is done until I was in Germany because that was the first U.S. aircraft I saw in Tripoli, a C-17 flown by Eric Stahl. And that's when I felt, but there were moments where you were, okay,
it just felt like your whole country just abandoned you. How could you feel safe?
You don't. And your guard is up. Your guard is really up. When that big militia showed up though, the next morning, and I didn't know if they were friend or foe. And that scene with Pablo is extremely accurate. Throwing up the jumbo, I was like, holy crap. Okay, I got an M4. How am I supposed to stop this? And I'm staring down at Dishka, which is a 50 cal that I know is going to rip me in half if he just starts flying, if he just starts leading bullets down, or along with the rest of the 50 technicals in the line. When I found out and I threw up that little jumbo and I got it back from the commander and the guy on the Dishka, I did have a total, just release. And I did cry. I did have, it was emotional. Oh my God, they're really here. And, it was ironic. I didn't know it at the time. I found out later when Trey Gowdy did his Benghazi Select Committee investigation. I found out then that militia those were Gaddafi's guys. That was Omar Gaddafi's militia. That was the whole reason we went in the country, was to overthrow this terrible dictator and his army, that army. And they saved us. How ironic is that?
That is absolutely ironic. That is absolutely ironic. You know, the funny thing that I could never understand, the thing that I could never understand was our State Department at that time during the Obama administration was always after Gaddafi. Let's go get Gaddafi, and Hillary Clinton and everybody. Yeah. And we had contained Gaddafi at that time. He was totally inactive. He was no threat at all. And now Libya is a total incredible hornet's nest because he's gone.
Yeah. It is a training ground for terrorism. I mean, they have the whole country. There's a reason dictators are dictators. If we haven't seen now that that dictators sometimes are necessities in certain parts of the world, as long as you're right, we contain them. They don't try to hit us. They don't try to kill Americans. They don't come out and they make, and I'm not, is it a lesser of two evils? Sure it is. It is. I'm not saying dictatorship. I want dictatorship. No, I don't. But when you don't have that dictator, and they've had it for so many years, you see what happens. That it's just a vacuum of power, and holy crap, now you got terrorism everywhere, and they're training new terrorists every day. Gaddafi hated Al-Qaeda worse than Gaddafi was not going to play with Al-Qaeda in his country. They would not go into Libya because he would do things that we wouldn't do because I do believe Americans have more values. We have more moral character. But he would do things to Al-Qaeda and any other terrorist organization. If he found them in his country, they were non-existent. Of course, when we overthrow him and kill him, now there's terrorism runs rampant in there. And I saw it when I was there. I even saw foreign fighters there, which, according to our agency personnel, there's supposed not to be any foreign fighters in this country. I saw them on a daily basis. And
I think the most ironic thing that you've said, that you divulged to me personally, maybe Mark as well, because I didn't realize it, was Gaddafi's militia actually came to you.
Yeah, I didn't know that was the case.
And Americans did not. American government. That is ironic.
And that's where I have now. I'm a little bit jaded. Like, who is my enemy now? Who are my friends? Who are my adversaries? Who are, I don't trust politicians as far as I can throw them. I don't trust. There's a couple that have been completely honest with me from the get-go. That was Mr. Gowdy, and then also when Jason Chaffetz was in Congress. As far as that goes, on both sides, those are the only two that have never lied to me that I'm aware of. Other than that, no, I don't even local politicians, even my own local politicians here in Omaha, I don't trust them as far as I can throw them.
Chris, I've got to send you something. We have a T-shirt that we have on our website. And if there's anyone who deserves one, it's you. On the front of our shirt, it says, "I love my country, but I fear my government."
You can send it to me. Can I get a medium though, so I can look big in it? Because I'm not a big guy.
Absolutely. But if anyone deserves to make that statement, it's you.
Yeah.
I would wear it. I will wear it proudly, because that's honestly what I believe. I completely believe that, and I've learned that
over. It's a shame, isn't it? Isn't it sad that you have to feel that way? I mean, it really is a state of affairs when you have to honestly feel that way in your heart.
You know it is, but maybe this is the time we need to wake up. People need to continue to wake up, and again put people in office that aren't politicians. When did being a politician become a career? It was supposed to be a service for a few years, and then you're out. And then we got these people staying in and being not having any other job experience of being a politician for years and years and years, and being gazillionaires on top of it. When did that become okay?
It was meant to be a sacrifice, a service,
yes, exactly.
not a means to success and wealth.
And that's what it's turned into. How do we allow that? How do people still not see that and continue to put the same people in office? I do like President Trump in office right now because he stirs it up. He's not a politician. He doesn't sugarcoat stuff. He doesn't say the political talk. He says, this is how it is. Well, that's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear, let me do this political speak and let me play around a little bit so it sounds like a half truth and that I'm being being nice to everybody. No, this is how it is. You don't like it? Tough. Excuse my language. Tough crap.
One of the great moments recently was when Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, and we all have seen this ad infinitum, were in the press conference with Trump. And the first thing she said was, "We don't need to talk about this in front of people. Let's go behind closed doors and do it." He said, "Well, this is transparency." I mean,
oh my gosh, does that just say conspiracy? Does it just say conspiracy? Does that just say we don't want people to know what we actually are trying to do to them?
Exactly.
How do people not see that?
Yeah, it's like turning on a light. It's like turning on a light in a room full of cockroaches.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, and I really feel that if the team, and it wasn't my decision, it was a team decision. If we hadn't come out in Benghazi and said this is what happened, you would have saw the story you would have saw history being rewritten. You would have saw nothing that happened that night. You would have saw complete.
Well, because of our government, quite frankly, who was in charge at that time, and the mainstream media to back them up, we were misled anyway. So it was very difficult to get your story out, and the movie certainly helped promote it. But there was so much misinformation flying around out there that nobody knew really what the hell was going on.
Now, do you think this would have happened if this had been right now under the Trump administration? Do you have any thoughts that this would have went the same way?
No, I don't. And honestly, I don't even think we would have been in Libya, to be honest with you. That's. I don't think it would have happened because we wouldn't even have been there.
But let's say that you were in a situation where you were under attack on a proper mission. I believe, I see what you think. I think our country would have been there for you now.
I honestly believe that too. I served in Iraq and Afghanistan before Libya happened. There were, and there was that where Dominic, who plays Tig, where he said, if we were in Iraq, we would have had Blackhawks to get us out. He's completely right. We would have. I was in Iraq too, and we had situations, and we had cover. We had all the assets we needed if we need them for the smallest altercation. Yes, I do believe that.
I'd like to introduce you to a new type of podcast. And by new, I mean there's never been anything like this before, not in terms of scope or ambition. The show's called Living Beyond 120. Science proved that lifespan could exceed 120 years back in the 1960s. And the Bible first mentioned living to 120 years 6,000 years ago in the book of Genesis. But the question is, how do we get there? Living Beyond 120 tries to answer this question. The show is an exploration into human longevity and what it will take for us to live longer, healthier lives, featuring interviews with some of the most respected minds in longevity science and tackling big subjects like how the medical system, big pharma, and maybe even our own government don't want you to live longer. Living Beyond 120. It's hosted by me and my co-host, medical expert, Dr. Jeffrey Gladden. You'll find the show on iTunes, Stitcher, or your favorite podcast directory, and you can also listen to it at the website livingbeyond120.com.
You fought wars. You're a combat guy. What
sure.
do you really believe? And this is an honest question. I have no political bias behind it. I'm just curious from your point of view and from the soldiers that you know and the men in uniform that you know. Do you think that we should be running around all over the Middle East trying to spread democracy and rebuild nations and doing all this kind of crap? I mean, is that what our job is?
No, I don't see that that's a necessity. Again, dictators are dictators for a reason. They do maintain peace. It's when if a dictator challenges the sovereignty of the United States, okay, well, you shouldn't do that. Don't do that. We're going to come and spank you, just like Gaddafi tried to do. Right. And then Reagan spanked the heck out of him, and he stopped. Yep. You have that old adage from that great philosopher Patrick Swayze, who said, "Be nice until it's time to not be nice." But leave them alone. Leave them alone. They are in that country and they become dictators for a reason. If we have not learned that pulling out a dictator causes that vacuum of power and just causes an area where it is now swarmed by Taliban groups or terrorist groups, then we haven't learned anything. No, we don't. And it takes years, not 10 years, not 20 years, maybe even 100 years
generations
to instill democracy. Exactly.
Well, on top of that, we're spreading democracy, which is just mob rule anyway. So why bother? We're not a democracy. I hate to go down this road every time, but it just galls me that the left controls the language, and consequently they control the narrative, and everybody follows suit and keeps talking about how we need to spread democracy. Well, crap, Russia's a democracy. Yeah. How do you like that? And they're a republic. Yeah, no. It's ridiculous.
And we are not learning. Sometimes I think we're regressing. But to answer your question again, I do not think we need to be doing that. I was part of that for many, many years. And I loved some of the Iraqis I worked with, the Afghanis. When I was in Kandahar, I had my own little Kandahar security force team. I love those guys.
Right.
And I know that when we pull out, they're done. I do. Do you think that doesn't hurt me? I know we've pulled out areas where they will die because of their allegiance to us. And that hurts me because some of them were my extremely great friends. I don't know what happened to some of them. But there comes again where we just can't stay there. It's not possible. It's not possible. And we're not doing anything but just continually just losing people on the ground. But if we're going to go in, you go in there and you knock the living crap out of whoever we're going to go hit. And then, you know what? We got to get out. That's just how it is. And
there's never an end game to these things. That's the problem. There's a never-ending, continuous conflict going on that just never comes to an end.
Now, talking about conflicts and dictators, Kris, bring us up to speed on what's going on with you and Twitter.
Hey, you know what? I'll be honest. About a month ago, social media to me, it used to be, I thought it was a necessity. I met a lot of insecure people on social media. I'm not saying you guys aren't. Then social media to me is a lot of. Chuck, you did great on Twitter. I followed you, man.
Oh, thanks.
But it was also breeding a lot of hate inside of me, and there's a couple. I got in a couple bad relationships off social media as well. People using me for my name, for my money, for getting notoriety within Omaha, even having to get into certain positions that they didn't qualify for because they were with me. Mm-hmm. And I was never a big social media guy anyway. I did it because I thought it was a necessity to get my name out there, and I do still believe that on a business side. But then it became of look at me, and I was never like that. I was never a person that said, you know what, look what I'm doing, and I dumped it all a month ago. I have a publicist who you've spoken with, Judy, that runs it for me. I have a battle line company. They cross stuff. So there's stuff of me out there, but I don't have it anymore. And Twitter, people are starting to see that Twitter is just a liberal platform. It's propaganda. And I saw that, and people are starting to get off that now. But for me, it was a toxicity in my life that I had to get out. I had to just push it away and stop it. And I did. And it eliminated some people out of my life too that I needed to get eliminated from because they were dragging me down and using me financially and for my namesake. And I never really believed that would happen until you actually experience it. Just like you never think you're going to be left behind in a country by your own government until you experience it.
Right.
And I got off it. So now Twitter, but when I got about 250,000. Jack and his cohorts there, they shut it down. I mean, I was losing 1,000, gaining 1,000 followers back every couple of days. But the biggest thing is I surrounded myself with a lot of insecure people, and again a couple bad relationships that specifically one that used me up pretty good. And I'm like, you know what, this isn't for me anymore. But I still have stuff out there. I still give people pictures to post. I just don't look at it anymore. Mm-hmm. So,
you're probably happier right for it too.
I my life, if you can tell by my voice, if we had done this conference or this interview a month ago, you would have heard my voice you would have said, man, he sounds depressed. And I was. It brings a lot of depression because it brings a lot of anger. And I don't need that in my life. I'm a happy individual. I love dancing with flashlights in front of Boone and going and making a parody of being an alpha male and goofing and I'd lost a lot of that, and now it's starting to come back a little bit. But again, full disclosure, do I have official Kris Paronto pages? Do I have official Battle Line pages, which is my training company for? Yes, I do. Do I run them? No, I have other people that do them for me. Now, do I give them stuff to post? Yes, it's just I don't have a personal page anymore. And Twitter was great for a while, but But again, I just didn't want to be angry anymore, and it was dragging me down. Honestly, I don't think we've lost a lot on that side of that fight, because people are starting to see that Twitter, and finally, like you should have saw it like years ago, that Twitter is just propaganda. It's just censorship, and it's ridiculousness. And there needs to be another platform. And I think Mr. Warrig, hey, this is your chance. Get another platform out there so people can have their side to it.
Yeah,
I guarantee you are.
Yeah.
So tell us about your training.
You're absolutely right, Kris. I can identify with that. I've always been a very happy person, and then a friend of mine who's very close to me drugged me into politics against my will. And he's now sitting on the other side of the other microphone. And I've never been so depressed and angry in my life.
I can handle the trolls and the politicians, because Adam Schiff's a complete bonehead. So is Feinstein. So is Pelosi. So they are. What I saw, what hurt me the most, is that people will use you. Men and women will use the crap out of you to get what they need and get to the positions they want, claiming other motives, whether it's a caring motive, and it's not. It's complete using, and it kind of disheartened me a bit. Like, holy crap! Why would somebody do that? I mean, maybe, and I thought they looked at God like, maybe I deserve this. Maybe God put me through some penance for something. But
so, Kris, tell us about your training program. You have a training program for people, right?
Yeah, we have. It's called Battle Line Tactical. We've had it for about a year. And I say we because Boone, DB, people that know the movie know that Dave Boone Benton was the sniper that was next to me that night fighting, the Marine. He was a former Marine. Him and I started it, and I started it. It was we had been instructors for the agency, for Blackwater, for the Army, for law enforcement, for the Marine Corps for years and years prior to Benghazi even happening. When we would come back from a deployment, I ran the CIA training course at Blackwater, and Boone was an instructor there as well, and he had his own instructing law enforcement all over the state of Florida, and then other courses as well. And we're like, well, why aren't we doing instruction? Let's get back to what we like doing. We can't deploy anymore because, thank you, John Brennan, you suspended all of our security clearances. Appreciate that. Yeah, we lost them all. Yeah, but we're like, we can still stay in the fight somehow.
That was what, your punishment for not dying?
That was our punishment for not dying. Thank you, Mr. So when he was complaining about him losing his security clearance, like, well, at least you got to know why you lost it. By him suspending ours, we don't get to know. We get no due diligence of why it was suspended. I'll never know why it was suspended. I'll never have it again. But he is a scumbag. But we started the company and it took off.
Tell us what you do.
What do you do?
We do all sorts of training. We do
do you have to come on site to do this training? I mean, or is it online, or is it?
No, we have courses all over the United States. We started just to go to particular ranges, and now we're starting to find home ranges that we like and can do training at. So I just got done doing a active shooter course in Daytona Beach in DeLand, Florida at Big 3. It's called Big 3 Range, and we teaching people how to deal with active shooters.
Well, now when are you doing that one again? I want to go.
Oh, you got to come to that. We'll have another one. We're getting the next year scheduled up. I have got it to where I want it. I've got a plethora of fantastic instructors that I've worked with, that have trained me, that I've trained with, and it will come. We actually on Battle Line Tactical, on my Facebook page, and then also on my local page, my KrisParonto.com. There's a schedule a year out, and you'll see places that we're going to do and what courses we do. Everything from rifle to active shooter. No, you know what you like, Mark and Chuck. You guys would come to the vehicle defense. We learn to teach how to shoot in and out of vehicle. That is so fun. Have a blast shooting up vehicles all day. All day.
Yes.
Mark is like having a passionate moment with himself.
Oh, you love it. See, you do. I do as well in my car. I don't. I'm kidding. I don't do that. I do sometimes. But anyway, let's get off. We're getting off. We're getting out of rabbit hole.
I want to go to active shooter school, and probably to vehicle school too. Where do you hold these at?
We have home ranges all over the country, but specifically, we use Big 3 East in Florida, in DeLand, which is right outside Daytona, which is outstanding. And especially during this time of year, I'm in Omaha, and I get to go be in the sun. We use one in Sherman, Texas, outside of Dallas. We also have one in Oklahoma, Kiefer, Oklahoma, a private range that we use there, a fantastic range. And then we have one in Nashville at a place called Tread Proof Training. And that's a fantastic one, too, because you're right outside Nashville. And we always start late at that one so people can go out and hang out and enjoy the city.
Now, Chuck, are you going
Nashville, east of Nashville, west of Nashville, south of Nashville? Where is it exactly?
We actually, it's right west of Nashville, 10 miles. That's it. Okay. It's right outside of town.
All right, now, Chuck, are you going to go to class with me?
Yeah, I'll try to stay up. I mean, I'm getting a little long in the tooth, brother. Hey,
Chuck, you know what? Now I'm just make appearances because I have instructors that run it all that are better than me, that know more than me. I don't show up till noon now, so you don't have to show up till noon. If we have a course, I just come there about lunchtime and shoot with everybody. So you're welcome to just come at about noon. You don't have to start at 9 like everybody else.
All right, we're going to be there. I'll start at 9, though.
Yeah.
I'll go in at 9. Chuck and
I'll be there. I'll be there at 8:30.
We have a blast because we're so laid back. We don't like to be. Hey, if you want to go get yelled at, go join the Army. I mean, we can do that to you. We were yelled at forever to try to learn.
Been there, done that.
Yeah, I don't need to yell at you. I'll put you through some training, but we don't need to yell at you. Just come on, have fun.
I was telling my fiance the other day. I said, "Do you know how I was awakened in the service in the morning? We had to get up and run or do whatever in boot camp." She said, "No, how?" I said, "Well, a guy would walk in with the lights off with a giant galvanized can and take a broomstick and roll it around." Are you familiar with that?
I am definitely familiar with that. And then if the guys didn't move fast enough, that thing got hucked down the dang either hallway or the bay, banging. Oh, I hated it. That's why I would always make sure I woke up early just so I didn't have to get.
There are two things that I'll never forget about the service. One is waiting in lines for things I didn't want, and I got out that start. Never waiting in line for things I didn't want anymore. And being awakened with a galvanized trash can and a broomstick.
That's still the worst feeling in the world when you have to wake up like that. They use flashbangs now, and they use little arty simulators, and that scares me a little bit. I should scare when you wake up. You wake up surprised.
It's the worst
downhill is that. Just throw it down the hallway, boom. But the trash can still is the metal trash can is still the sound that gets my adrenaline.
I'm so glad I could bring that back for you.
Thank you. Well, I'm gonna not sleep tonight, so I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
So, Kris, tell us, you've got a documentary series coming out, right? You have one show or two shows coming out?
Right now, one. It's called War Heroes TV, and it's at the SHOT Show. I don't know if people know what the SHOT Show is. It's the biggest gun show in the country. Mm-hmm. It's in Las Vegas. It actually, if you love guns or you love tactical equipment, I would always go once because it's just incredible. Everything
it's huge.
I'll be honest. It is monstrous. I hate going because I don't. I can't move 2 feet without getting. And I love the people.
You're a star there, man. You got to face it. You got to face the fact you're a star there. You're a hero.
Well, it's still never comfortable. But I'm glad it's not, because if it ever got comfortable, then I know I'm too full of myself. And so I'm glad that it's still not comfortable for me. But it's still a fantastic show. But we're going to be airing it there at a theater. And just again, go on my website, the KrisParonto.com. And it'll show the location, but it's honoring a gentleman, again, a Gold Star family member, and a soldier that passed away in Iraq, Sergeant Doltz, and that's what it's going to be, in just series of honoring Gold Star family members and remembering and keeping memories alive of men that have sacrificed, men and women that have sacrificed themselves in the line of fire.
Now, where will this series be available? Is this series, have you been picked up by a cable network yet, or where will it be available?
Not yet. That's why this is it. We're doing the big series there, the big opening in at the SHOT Show, and then the producer. This is what it's for. He's out there, and he may have got something. I don't know. Actually, I just got back from a deployment a couple months ago. I was still deploying to South America, so I've been kind of under a rock the last few months as well, because I've been gone. But as far as I know, it hasn't been picked up. But yes, he will be pitching to like Discovery, Netflix, the History Channel, and I do see it being picked up. It should be picked up because it's well made, and also because of its storyline of honoring those that that still need to be honored and never forgotten. And I'm sure we'll find out. I don't think we're going to find out for sure until March, because there is a big premiere gala in New Jersey in February, and that's when I'll know for sure. But I see it being picked up. If not, and we still got the Kardashians on, you're right. We got problems. We got problems in this country.
I'm going to ask you about something that you may not be able to talk about, but I'm going to ask you,
go ahead.
And I'll preface it with this. Over the last 50, 60 years, I guess, maybe a little shorter or a little longer, Marxists have always been trying to move into South America and threaten us, whether it was in Cuba, the Cuban crisis in the 60s, or whether it's Nicaragua or whatever it is. They're constantly probing. This is still going on. I mean, every American who listens is aware that it's still going on, and they're still making some inroads. And how dangerous is this in our southern neighborhood that all of these countries are being continually infiltrated with these Marxists trying to take over?
Well, I think it is dangerous. I think we're more apt to having terrorists come across a porous border, because that's where I see our enemies utilize the South more than anything.
They're starting to stage down there.
Yeah, and I do think working, and I have worked in South America on contracts prior to this one, whether it be Colombia, El Salvador, Peru, Costa Rica, and Central and South American countries. Those people do love their freedoms, though. They do love their McDonald's. They do love their malls. They do love the lights. And I don't see people standing by. Now, Nicaragua, lost cause right now. I don't see people.
Venezuela.
In Venezuela, yep. I think it'd be more difficult for Marxism and to really just blow up all of a sudden in those countries, unless you just have you have a crazy dictator like you did. What Chavez, the crazy guy there. Mm-hmm. Because people now, granted, it's crooked in those countries. It is crooked. There are crooks everywhere within the police force. It's very just crime. Period, just general crime. But they do love their shopping. They do love their clubs. They do love their
very interesting, Kris. Years ago, I read a book by Michener called Caribbean, and it was a small book. It wasn't very large, and it was all about the legacy that the Spanish left behind. Because you're talking about all Spanish conquered nations throughout the world, throughout South America, and the legacy it's nasty. It really is nasty. I mean, I always said the French left good food, the British left good government, and the Spanish left total corruption behind them.
And it's still there, the hierarchy. It all depends on who's in charge and who has control of the police and who has control of military, if there's a military in that country. Like Costa Rica doesn't have a military. They have
Costa Rica? A lot of Americans are retiring down there. They have a lot of they got lawyers, they got doctors, all of this kind of stuff. Is the whole country fairly safe, or is it? There's
areas that are safe. I wouldn't recommend if you're a white boy, to go down in Central San Juan on your side. I was doing some anti-kidnapping stuff down there, and I was also doing reconnaissance, and I do blend pretty good. My Spanish comes back, so I speak it. I speak it well enough to get by, and it comes back more and more the longer I'm there, so I can blend. But when you're down in the center of the city, if you're an American, you're usually, and I would watch him, you're in a group with a guide going around. You're not on your own walking, just because of the petty crime, just because of just because of the robberies and possibly assaults that would go on down there. But there are areas, there are tons of Americans down there. I know a lot of contractors that eventually settle down in Costa Rica, but it's in particular areas, resort type areas, and those are beautiful. And again,
Chuck, you might remember, I was attempted to be kidnapped in Guatemala.
I remember. Yeah.
Wow. I remember. Yeah, and that still goes on. That's still, the kidnapping there is still rampant, and the police sometimes are part of that.
My kidnapping was by the police, by the Guatemala City.
Yeah, there you go. That hasn't changed. I'd be completely honest with you. And in my opinion, from what I saw even just recently, and this is recent, this is a couple months ago, that hasn't changed. It's still the same. Money still talks. But you are right on the terror side, and whether it's infiltration on the Marxists, whether that's part of it or not with the Marxists, I think it's more of the terrorists being smart with our border. They do use those as staging areas.
Kris,
and that's why that border was important.
what do you think of people like Bernie Sanders and Ocasio-Cortez, which are promoting Marxist socialism inside our country?
They need to go down and just live in Nicaragua, go down to Venezuela. They need to get out of here. They don't know what the heck they're talking about. They're ridiculous. And of course, somebody that sits up high and thinks they're above everybody else, and that doesn't live by their own values they're trying to push on everybody else. I mean, how many houses does Bernie Sanders have? 3? Is it really that's living equally more than anybody? You can preach all day what you want. We need to divvy up everything and be fair to everybody. But if you're not willing to live that way, well, all you're doing is you're, again, like true Marxism, like true dictators, it's what you're doing. You're putting yourself above everybody else, saying, I know it all. You need
most
to do this, but I'm not going to do it.
In leadership won't live that way. It's just the trolls that they use. They'll live that way. The ignorant people who follow them. But, switching gears here one more time, I want to ask you about this because this is in the news a lot. This whole thing that's going on in Syria when Trump made this announcement about pulling out. And, of course, he's not really backed off that, but he's kind of settled down a little bit to reevaluate, which I think is a good thing. Yeah. But, we got, a couple of thousand special ops guys over there, and they're making a difference. And then you got this guy, Erdogan, who came into Turkey. He's a problem, isn't he?
Turkey always. I just never know what side they're on. Even when I was working,
I remember years ago, Kris. I was in Istanbul, and I remember walking down the street, and the common thing to see in Istanbul were like 18, 19, 20-year-old guys with automatic weapons stripped on their shoulders. Yeah. They were everywhere, and this was like back in the 70s. And
that's how. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I'm just saying it was back in the 70s, and it's still it's almost there's a freedom there back then that obviously I enjoyed and I saw a lot of things, the Blue Mosque and all that kind of stuff. But it felt dangerous even then when I was there, and I can imagine it feels even more dangerous. I was also in Syria a little later on, and I remember being in Damascus, and I felt like I was under. My psyche just felt like it was on alert all the time. I did not feel comfortable the entire time I was in Damascus, Syria, and there was nothing going on.
Of course, you stand out just by the color of your skin. And that's not a racist statement. That's just how it is. You stand out. You do feel like people are looking at you, and they do. And we're normally bigger as well, or healthier. There's an American right there. It's almost like we're a caged animal in a zoo, and they're looking at it. So you do feel that way. You do. But you're right. There is a threat level there that you don't see it in the greatest country in the world. You don't have that here in the United States that people don't get unless they go into those countries. They don't understand. So now with Turkey, and again, going back to Turkey, getting that way again, I'll be honest, I never really trusted Turkey anyway. Even when I was working in Kurdistan, I trusted the Kurds. In fact, I don't know why we don't back them more. We pull out of Syria, they're dead. We pull out of Syria, the Kurds. Turkey's going to run them up, and we aren't going to help them at all. And the Kurds have always been on our side. But you getting back to that, always. I don't know why we leave them to their own accord. Because I love the Peshmerga, love those guys, and I love working in Kurdistan. But Turkey's just another one of those where now we're getting into politics, supporting. Are they stabilizing the region? They don't know. They destabilize it, just like Saudi Arabia destabilizes the region. But there's something in their oil, whatever it is, above my pay grade that I don't know about, that we have to keep making nice with these countries, and that are completely making that region. Destabilizing that entire region. In Syria, we shouldn't have been in there to begin with. Gosh dang it, we backed terrorist organizations under Obama when we went in there to fight a dictator, again, to overthrow a dictator that we shouldn't have been trying to overthrow.
Right.
And now Trump got handed a pile of crap, and now he's trying to make deal with it. That's what I saw, and I said that when he first got elected. I was on Fox talking. I said, hey, Obama basically said, here, terrorists, we're going to back you. Here's all the weapons you need. Go try to overthrow this dictator. oh, well, I'm out now. Here, Trump, this is your problem, President Trump. And now he's trying to deal with it. He's at a no-win situation. He's damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. And he's just going to have to make a decision and either get out and deal with the naysayers, and that's fine, or stay in with the special ops troops, which is great, with the best special operations troops in the world, and try to make do. But, there were even times where guys that we had militias that were backed by the Army Special Forces and then also by CIA personnel fighting each other. We didn't even know which militias we were supposed to be backing.
It's so confusing.
So,
listen, Kris, I got to tell you something, man. We wish you the absolute best in life for the rest of your life. We thank you for your service. What a pleasure it's been to have you on the show and get your overview of what's going on from your perspective. And
we're going to be at your training class.
Yeah, we're going to.
You guys come. You guys.
I am
guys
serious.
Come, just tell. You better come. We'll get what? Are you guys? Where are you at? What's your location? If you don't mind me asking.
I'm in Texas and Mark's in Michigan.
Oh yeah, you're Midwest. All right.
And I'm in Florida also. Actually, I'm in Florida right now, but I got a place in Florida and Michigan. Chuck's in Texas. So we could do Florida. We could do Dallas. I mean, what places do you have? Where do you want us to show up?
Go Florida, because we have DeLand. We work down at Homestead in Miami, and then we have one in West Palm Bay as well. Florida's awesome. I love going to Florida. So let's do, and we may have one in Naples. It's not set yet in February.
I was just there yesterday. Naples.
Oh, you are more than welcome, and you just show up and you just come and just have a ball. We'll have a blast.
I will be there. And by the way, we will have links to Kris's website and to all his information. Also, Kris, you're working on a new book, so I hope when the new book gets close, you'll come back and tell us about the book.
Yes, it's not till October, but definitely will, and it's called The Patriot's Creed, and I am blessed that I got to write a third one. The other two did very well, so Hachette, the publishing company, said, hey, will you do a third one? And here we go. Who would have thought? But I'm very honored, and I'm very blessed.
We'll have links to your first two books, and we'll have you back when that third book's coming out for sure. And I will see you at one of these training camps. I'm going to try to drag Chuck out of his bunker
yes, sir.
to show up.
Yes, sir. You got it.
Yeah, I escaped Los Angeles. I'm in my bunker in Texas.
Well, I'll come to you. We'll come to you. You just hang out there. Don't go anywhere. We'll get there.
It's good to talk to you, Kris.
God bless you guys. Have a great day.
Thank you.
You too, my friend. Well, Chuck, there it is. Kris Paronto. Wasn't he? He's awesome.
He really is. I mean, he's got a lot to say, and it's all valuable. Great experience. It's such a shame that our government, I have to, it's the Obama administration and Hillary Clinton left them sitting, in the dirt over there. It's what a black mark on our government. It's just bad.
That's a shame. His country left him to die. I am going to send him one of our T-shirts.
What an amazing thing that Gaddafi's guys come in and basically save them.
Yeah, I did not know that.
I didn't know that. I mean, that is just beyond ironic.
Well, it was fun having him. I am going to go to his training camp. I'm really going to show up there.
I know you will. I'll squeeze up.
Active shooter training. How much better can you get having active shooter training with two of the guys from Benghazi?
I know. That's great. That's great.
I mean, you talk about experience.
I know to live in a community like I live in where everybody gets along.
But I mean, if you want training in an active shooter environment, who could have more experience than those two guys?
Boy, no kidding. That's for sure. Yeah.
I mean, seriously, you couldn't get more experience.
No. Listen, we hope you all enjoyed the show today, enjoyed Kris and our chat with him, and we love having you listen to us. Pray that you'll give us a great review and on iTunes, Stitcher, and Liberty.
iHeart, Liberty One,
all of those little platforms. We really appreciate you listening, and we'll see you next time on Blunt Force Truth.